Here in the second segment, we've a quarter of the way through. We've got a long way to go, more hours, and I'm very happy to introduce you to Vance Stevens. If you're not familiar with Vance, somebody that I've tried to emulate for years, and I hope I'm doing him proud. He's got the original webhead. You're one of the first to do this, aren't you?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Been doing it a lot longer than me, so
From 1997, 1998.
Yeah. Great. Well, I hope I make you proud. I try and follow in your footsteps.
You do. You do a good job, and I know how hard it is. It's really tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, well, you got it down to 10 hours. You got it down to 10 hours, so that's not too bad.
Well, you've got the record, right?
I don't know. We were doing WebEds in Action online convergences for 72 hours at a time.
Yep.
And we gave up that. So.
Yeah, I did one 24-hour one. We did a fundraiser, which we're going to talk about. We did 24 hours, and I did the tech background. I fell asleep in the last 15 minutes. So, very good. So, what I'll do is, you've got 10 minutes. I've got the timer right here, and you can share your slides.
Okay, hang on a minute. I'm looking for my timer. I was just making sure the Facebook stream was going. Okay, my timer is there, and my slides. Here come my slides. Yay, okay, so, and let me just put it in present mode. Present, okay, yeah, there we go. Presentation mode is on.
Very good, so 10 minutes, and take it away, my friend.
Okay, starting my timer right now. And hello, everybody. This is Vance Stevens in Penang, Malaysia. And this, I did this before. I've just rehearsed this, and what I want to do is put on the beginning slide. That was an end slide. So, okay, basically, if you want these slides yourself, go to tinyurl.com/Vance2020talks. Maybe someone could put that in the text chat. tinyurl.com/Vance2020talks. That way you get the depth that's built into each slide. So we're going to go quickly through an encapsulated history of teacher professional development from Web 2.0, which was about 20 years ago, through teaching and learning in isolation and the new normal. And don't lose sight of that URL. But you're about to. I'm about to switch slides. I'm on a time frame here. Okay. So basically, how I got into this was I was working as a teacher in Oman for 10 years, even before that. And when I left Oman, 1995, I think, I went to California and started working in a software development company. And I really missed teaching. And I met somebody there named David Wynette, who was doing something called study.com. And he asked me to do an online class. So I started doing that. We started doing it in email. Eventually I learned about HTML, and I put something online. When I went off to my next teaching gig, it wasn't a teaching gig, it was a consultant's gig. But anyway, it was in Abu Dhabi, and there I started. Again, I was trying to keep my hand in teaching, and so I started writing for Webheads, and that, I think it was in 1998. And if you want to learn more, if you've got the link to that slide, did someone put it in the text chat? Yes? No? Anyway, I'm not looking at the text.
YouTube text. It's in the
okay. There you go. Well done, Rob. Okay, so anyway, you can learn more about writing for Webheads by clicking on the link below the gallery. And the important things to come out of this was we found a plugin back in January 2000. January 2000 was the first we used it. And it was called Hear Me. And it was a plugin you put in a Web 1 HTML page, and people anywhere could go and click on it, and they could talk to each other. Amazing. This just this was a game changer for us. And we're using a lot of other computer-mediated communication tools at international conferences. Especially I went to one in Barcelona where I kind of got some attention doing this. And I did a lot of presentations on computer-mediated communication tools. And there's a couple of links there where what's interesting about these links is it can show you some of the tools we were using. And this picture I've got here is from one of those links. It's a picture of the palace. And the palace was a place where you could go. There's a picture here of a conference table with a lot of stools, and we could put our avatars in those stools if we wanted, or we could write on a whiteboard. And somebody there who had a medical problem was trying to describe what she was having to use, and she drew it on the whiteboard. I mean, this is kind of like banging on the bars of your jail cell, you know, to communicate to other inmates. But basically, this is what we used to do back in those days. So keep in mind, we were moving from Web 1 to Web 2, and teaching professionals were becoming involved. And that was in 2002. I started WebHeads in Action because writing for WebHeads was getting so much traction that I made an EVO, Electronic Village Online session for it. And you can find the link to the original session, but if you go to webheads.info, then you get all these links at the top are active. If you want to read more about WebHeads, I actually put it in the encyclopedia. There's an encyclopedia of English language teaching, and you can get it at that link that's on the bottom there. Don't forget, go to tinyurl.com/Vance 2020 talks, and you can see all that stuff. So, two mouses here. Okay. So we were talking just a second ago about WebHeads and Action online convergence. Somehow I've gone off the slides. Hang on a second. Let me get back to where I was. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. I don't know how I clicked on that. I must have clicked on something on the slide itself. Okay, so WebHeads it started in 2002. It sort of subsided a little bit, but just recently, due to the pandemic, it started catching traction again. And in March 30th, somebody was feeling isolated, Michael Coughlin in Australia, and he wanted to start our group up again. And so we accommodated. And at that time, we started something called Talon, Teaching and Learning in Isolation. And the first one was a WebHeads Revival meeting. We've evolved calling them WebHeads Revival Weekly Open Mic Sandbox Funninars. And I clicked on something. I clicked on the wrong thing again. Okay, I'm not sure. Yeah, okay. Oh, what's happening here? I'm not sure how this slide get in here. Oh, this has come in on other. It's included on other web pages as well. Funninar, frivolous, unanticipated nonsense. If you want to learn more about that, you can click on that link in the slide there. Anyway, that's not even one of my slides. Sorry about that. So back to learning together. I started learning together after WebHeads in Action Online Convergence, which I just mentioned. I just showed you the link there inadvertently. And it has an archive, which is at the bottom of this page. You can click on that archive and you can see all our materials indexed from 2009 until now. So click on it and see. But this is where this got started. Learning together started because of what we were talking about just before we got going, that we were doing this WebHeads and Action Online Convergences for 72 hours at a stretch in 3 years. By the end of 2009, we had become blithering idiots. So I decided to do this rather than doing it all in a 72-hour stretch. The same number of presentations you could do in week by week, and that's where WebHeads and Action Online Convergence became learning together, doing it weekly instead of all at once. And so this learning together as an entity led to WebHeads having some place to go in order to reconvene, and Talon, Teaching and Learning in Isolation. So Talon has now become Talon Squared. But it started out as teaching and learning in isolation, but now it's Talon Squared, teaching and learning in the new normal. And you can click on tinyurl.com Talon/Talon 2020 and find more about it. But basically, it produced 38 episodes from March 30th to August 9th. So you can see all of those episodes in that link above. I blogged what I was doing, all the connections I was making, because when the pandemic started in January this year, I knew it started because people started wearing masks. You can see in the picture here. I wrote a blog post which I described how the English language specialist program I was working on blended, well, actually it was a face-to-face workshops, as you can see in the picture, but then they also asked me to do a workshop, which was online. And that workshop was where I really learned. It started slowly because it just started as, okay, something I'd already done before, but as people started going into what they call emergency remote teaching, they really became concerned. Oh, they saw the value of learning about blended learning, because here, if you click on the link here, that's Jeff LeBeau and I maintain, the more you are comfortable with blended learning in your normal classes, you'll see Jeff himself talking about how he set up his classes in Pusan, his teachers in Pusan, to be able to go through blended learning into their emergency remote online teaching. So these elements are essential to teacher training. These elements of blended learning to help you stay in the remote teaching, and also computer mediated communication. So if you want to learn more, go to Learning Together. I noticed that Rob said he had 550 videos online now. I've only got 500 episodes. We're racing. Anyway, you can go to learningtogether.pbworks.com. There happens to be a Teachers Learning Together Summit coming up August 9th and 10th. And by the way, that's organized by Hannah Khamis, who was having bandwidth issues earlier today. So that's it. Okay, so this has been an encapsulated history of teaching PD, et cetera, et cetera. A reminder of where the slides are. If you want to see all these slides, go to tinyurl.com/Vance 2020 talks. Okay, thank you very much.
Great, Vance. Thanks so much. I don't think we're racing. I think we're, if I compare 550 10 minutes to 572 hours, I don't know if, I think you're winning.
Who's comparing? Who's comparing?
Yeah, but it's great.
Yeah.
And
we all do what we can.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll see you this weekend, right? For Niall Teasel.
That's next weekend, and that it was Niall Teasel, but that's where something happened with Niall Teasel. I'm not really sure. I never got explained to me, but anyway, Hannah asked me to take on to help her organize the thing. So yep. It's become what you just saw, the Teachers Learning Together Summit.
Great. Okay. The Learning Together Summit. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll see you there. And thanks so much. And, your feedback, always welcome. And I hope to be as lucky as you someday and retire.
I tell you, leaves all this time for all this other stuff, you would think.
Great. All right. Thanks again.